Dear esteemed speakers and our esteemed guests, this is to inform you that this session is going live on YouTube as well, and this will be recorded. This is just for your information. I hand over to Ms. Lavanya Sharma to take over and start with the session. Over to you, Lavanya.
Thank you so much, Ashika. Before we begin with this session, can I please request everyone to kindly switch on your cameras and mute your microphones to help us facilitate this better? Thank you so much. A very good morning to all the distinguished speakers, esteemed guests, members of BRICS CCI, and participants joining us across India. On behalf of BRICS Chamber of Commerce and Industry, I extend a very warm welcome to you all to join us for today's session on mental health and workplace resilience. As workplaces continue to evolve amid rapid technology advancements today, increasing professional demands, global uncertainties, conversations around mental health are no longer optional. They are the very essence of our daily lives. Building resilient individuals and psychologically safe workplaces has become a shared responsibility of leaders, institutions, and society at a very large. The webinar brings together an eminent panel of experts from the field of psychology, medicine, healthcare, leadership, and governance to share valuable insights on fostering well-being, resilience, and sustainable performance in today's exemplary world. Before we formally begin with today's session, I would like to place a special and sincere appreciation for Dr. Momita Nandi, who is the founder of Dr. Nandi's Mind Studio, whose vision and commitment have been instrumental in conceptualizing this important dialogue on mental health and workplace resilience. It is now my privilege to invite Mr. Steve Shastriji, Chairman of BRICS Chamber of Commerce and Industry, to deliver the opening remarks. Mr. Shastri is a visionary leader and custodian of enduring legacy of Bharat Ratna, late Lal Bahadur Shastri ji, India's former Prime Minister. With a remarkable career spanning public policy, governance, and social leadership, he has revered for his commitment to ethical leadership, national development, and social transformation. Mr. Shastri remains a guiding force for policymakers, youth leaders, and change makers across the country. Advocate for youth empowerment and sustainable development, and serves as chairman of IIGL, president of Confederation of Teachers, chairman of BRICS Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and president BRICS CCI Vertical. With global initiatives, strong communication skills, and mass appeal, he champions employment-centric programs, leadership forums, international collaborations, inspiring people to embrace responsibility and shape a sustainable and healthy future. So, the virtual floor is yours. I would like you to kindly address the audience today and guide us on how we should take the health very sincerely.
Am I audible?
We can hear you.
Yeah.
Sir.
So, first of all, thank you to Ms. Nandi to organize such a beautiful program. And I recently got a chance to meet her and we discussed how important it is. So, no further ado, I'll just start off with what I have to say. Good morning, all my distinguished guests, colleagues, and all my friends here who have taken out time on a busy weekend. It is my honor as a chairman of BRICS Chamber of Commerce and Industry to welcome you all to this important conversation on mental health and workplace in resilience. We live in a world that is moving faster than ever before, where performance, deadlines, and expectations continue to rise. But in this pursuit of growth and success, we must ask ourselves one important question. Are we taking care of the people who make that growth possible? Mental health is not a side conversation anymore. It is central to how we work, how we lead, and how we build our organizations for the future. A strong workplace is not defined only by profits or productivity, but how it supports its people in times of stress, uncertainty, and challenges. And that is where resilience comes in. Resilience is not about avoiding difficulties, it is about learning how to adapt, recover, and go stronger together. Across the BRICS nations, as we shape the future of business, innovation, and global cooperation, we have a responsibility to create a workplace that is compassionate, inclusive, and mentally healthy. Because when we invest in mental well being, we invest in a stronger team, stronger institution, and most importantly, a stronger economies. I hope today's discussion will inspire meaningful action, open dialogue, and practical solutions so that together we can build workplace where every individual can truly thrive. Thank you all once again for taking out time this weekend, and all prominent people with all the knowledge. I'm looking forward to hearing how it can help us and build us a better and a stronger economy and stronger India. And I wish you all a productive and a very impactful session. Jai Hind.
Thank you very much, sir, for your inspiring remarks and emphasizing the importance. Indeed, mental health is not just our responsibility, but also a duty of ours to ensure to everyone around us. To set the context for today's discussion next, I would now like to invite Dr. Momita Nandi, a senior clinical psychologist. Dr. Nandi in my studio to deliver a special session on mental health at work and why it is important to address not just your physical health, but also your mental well-being in a time like today. Dr. Nandi has extensive experience in clinical practice, psychoeducation, and advocacy, and she has developed inclusive, evidence-based therapeutical framework that integrates mindfulness, trauma-informed care, and emotional literacy. Under her leadership, House of Lab has evolved into a transformative platform that blends therapy, research, and outreach to promote mental health, women's well-being, and emotional resilience in workplaces. Her initiatives aim to bridge the gap between traditional wisdom and modern mental health care through holistic and a community-driven model. Aligned with BRICS CCI's vision to social equality, health diplomacy, and collaborative innovation, Dr. Nandi advocates for integration of psychosocial well-being into public health systems. Through BRICS Chamber of Commerce and Industry, she is working to advance the new integrative care model, a preventive, holistic, and patient-centered framework that focuses on early intervention, lifestyle medicines, and community health systems. Her contributions center on strengthening preventive healthcare and promoting international cooperation in integrative medicine. Through her work, Dr. Nandi continues to champion emotional well-being as a public priority, advancing the shared BRICS CCIs and global agenda of inclusivity, sustainable, and comprehensive health. We welcome, ma'am, and we look forward to your insights. The floor is yours.
Am I audible? Hello. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much, Lavanya, for that lovely introduction. And thank you so much, Mr. Shastri, for even mentioning that how mental health is important for a resilient growth in our country, correct? We have a country of young youth, and we have to really, really make sure that we make them more resilient, more grateful, and the workplace should be less of burnout. So begin with it. Good morning, everyone. It's truly an honor to be here today with BRICS Chamber of Commerce and Industry. And with all you distinguished professionals, we have doctors, we have policymakers, leaders, educators, mental health experts, right? And today's conversation is especially important because we are no longer discussing mental health as a healthcare issue any further. We are discussing it on the economic platform, organizational development, and priority. Now let's talk some fact. According to WHO, depression and anxiety alone leads to estimated loss of 12 billion working days globally every year, costing the global economy approximately $1 trillion annually in lost productivity. Now, this is the number that we are talking about, which is very huge. So mental health, as I said, is not something to be just discussed over a cup of tea or coffee, but it is something that we have to start as a major work nationwide. Within BRICS nation, especially we have Brazil, Russia, India, and China, South Africa. We are witnessing enormous amount of economic growth, urbanization, digital acceleration, and workforce traumatization at the same time. Now, when we talk about workforce traumatization, we have to bring in aspects that is rising: burnout, loneliness, workplace stress, emotional exhaustion, and mental health disparity. We have a lot of speaker on our panel today, and I will not take a lot of time, but I will discuss a little bit on each of these pointers so that we can start the panel discussion post this, right?
I'm really sorry to interrupt, but before we begin with the session, can I please request for a group photograph before we move on with the day? Would that be possible?
Yes, sure. How do we do that?
Yeah, sure. So, Vaishnavi, please stop the screen sharing. We'll have a quick group photograph. I request everybody to please switch on your camera for a lovely picture of the day. May I please request everyone to please switch on the camera. I know it's early in the morning, but that's the zeal and that's the energy that we need for the day. Before we start talking about a good mental health and a good day, we need to see lovely smiling faces. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. Such lovely seeing all of you so early in the morning on a Saturday weekend. But I think we are together for a good cause. I will not take much time and hand it over to Dr. Nandi to take it forward. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you so much. That was lovely. All right, so let's start with understanding what is workforce stress and burnout prevention. Lavani, if I may request, can we put on the presentation? And the
Sure,
slide.
I guess I'm already on the screen. If you can see the screen,
Yes,
let me know.
yes. So let's start with workplace stress and burnout prevention, right? Let's first of all understand what is burnout. Burnout doesn't mean when we have overload of work. Burnout can also mean when we are procrastinating, when we have lost interest in things that we are supposed to do, when we are irritable all the time. So when we talk about a global study done by Gallup, they found that employees experiencing severe burnout are significantly more likely to take sick leave. They have reduced confidence, and their performance are actively below the level of the organization standard, right? And this is definitely a measurable economic indicator to begin with when we are talking about the growth of a healthy nation, right? So now when we are talking about this corporate structures and productivity in India and across all the BRIC nations, right? There are people who are highly functional burnouts, where person appears productive. Externally, they have everything that needs to be there to finish their work, right? But internally, they are not able to standardize the chronic stress, the exhaustion, the instability, and the inequality. Now, this is definitely brings a big impact to the GDP and the socioeconomic aspect of our country, right? We have seen across countries like China, they have seen what's widespread discussion around overwork culture, overwork sustainability, and they are trying to recognize burnout. It's high time that we in India, like all economic indicators, we also have burnout indicators. The employee who sacrifice rest should be celebrated. That is what is happening in the culture. Like if you're doing extra time, you are celebrated, you're giving that bonus. But by doing that, we end up creating more burnout scenario over here. So the availability of your working force should not always be appreciated. We need to have trauma-informed leadership, wherein the leaders are also sitting with them and asking substantial questions on how they are feeling. Each workforce needs to have a counseling psychologist where they are able to address this at the earliest. Let's first of all understand, in a first growing economy like India, younger generation are increasingly asking important questions. Can ambition coexist with emotional well-being? Can workplace be productive without being psychologically punishing? And can leadership include empathy without compromising accountability? It is very difficult for people to even talk about their mental health at the workplace, because that is where they are questioned about their accountability. They are taken as vulnerable. They're taken as emotionally weak. But we need to understand that to have a psychologically safety organizational plan, we need to make sure that we tell them that vulnerability is not a weakness. Vulnerability should be created as a hierarchical structure where your leaders are also promoting and talking not just about technical skills, but also a safe ecosystem and environment. The questions that I have put forward, I would also want to take it forward in our next phase to our speakers, that can ambition coexist with emotional well-being? Can workplace be productive without being psychologically punishing? And can leadership include empathy without compromising accountability? Now, these are not soft questions. These are organizational survival questions that one should take into consideration. With this, we need to understand our nervous system will feel safe. The brain will perform better. It will have creativity. It will improve creativity. The problem solving improves and emotional regulation also improves. So human beings are able to thrive when the system is creating such an environment for them. And with a diversified demography like India, it is very important that we take into consideration all these pointers that I have just informed. Now let's understand, what is trauma-informed leadership? Well, to begin with, trauma-informed leadership, the pandemic has taught us a lot about trauma-informed leadership, right? If we have all gone through pandemic, fundamentally, which has changed the emotional landscape of the workplace globally. Across millions of nations, people have experienced grief. They have experienced uncertainty. They have experienced caregiving burden. They have experienced isolation, financial instability, health anxiety, and emotional trauma simultaneously while trying to continue and function professionally. Now, is it really worth? Is it really worth it that someone has to deal with all this emotional upheaval and at the same time be able to function? And when you're able to overwork and you're able to do extra hours, you are given credit. India today is supposedly the second nation in the world after Turkey, which is experiencing high level of loneliness. And we need to understand that this loneliness is growing because of the huge amount of accessibility around, right? So to contain human consciousness and to contain this objectives, to lower absenteeism, to increase innovation, for healthier leadership pipelines, we really need to focus on these pointers that I just mentioned, right? We expect that post-pandemics, our workers, the workforce, they just return normally and start working without acknowledging their psychological aspect and perspective. Have we created a structure or a pipeline where when the workforce return, and when I'm talking about workforce, I'm talking about farmers, I'm talking about teachers, I'm talking about leaders, I'm talking about lawyers, doctors, designers, I'm talking about all kind of leadership. I would share a personal experience. Recently, I was invited to give a talk to police personnel and few CID personnel, and we were discussing about the juvenile unit, how stressful it can be for them. I was invited to give them a talk on how to assess like initial psychiatric assessment for kids who have gone through child trafficking. Now, one of the personnel stood up and told me that, ma'am, how can we show empathy and at the same time create a environment where we are lodging a criminal case? Now, that is a big question. Now, this police personals, bureaucrats, all these people are the workforce of our society for us to become a socially, economically strong country. The 100 years of independence, and then that we talk about India being there in the list, a Vishwaguru, we have to take into consideration our mental health perspective, which is the most important thing in our life right now. So we need to understand that when we are talking about the leadership, the leaders needs to be systematically sensitized to grow this kind of workplace where they are showing their employees how they can support and engage more with their psychological, their emotional side at the same time. Trust me, when we entertain the side of human psyche, we are really helping to grow them, and we are further improving the productivity of the workforce. So let's understand what is emotional intelligence and resilience to begin with. We have AI in today's world, so we all know about artificial intelligence, but EQ, emotional quotient, emotional intelligence is very important when we talk about mental health support, about flexibility, about emotional respect, work-life balance, human leadership, and meaningful organizational culture. Now, this is something which is particularly about resilience. Resilience is not emotional suppression. We need to understand. True resilience is the ability to recover, regulate emotions, adapt to stress, seek support when necessary, like disturbance occurred in the workforce, and maintain psychological flexibility during challenges, which are very, very important paradigms with respect to workforce, right? But organizations today, they fail to understand that emotional intelligence, and they continue producing technically competent leaders. Technical skill is important, is definitely important, but to have emotional resilience is equally important. It will furthermore fuel your technical skills and your capability. Until and unless we do that, there is an increasing workforce of employees who are just working with a lot of dissatisfaction. So it's very important that we work towards institutionalizing mental health in with aspect to different organization, where this will include certain mental health policy, crisis response systems, employee assistance program, burnout audits to begin with, leadership sensitization, therapy referrals, peer support initiative, and psychologically safe reporting system. To that extent, I don't even want to use the word mental health. Today, we are talking about human sustainability. It is no longer mental health or the human mind. It is about human sustainability that we need to discuss about today. We really need to work on certain aspects where we consider dividing burnout, caregiver burden, and we try to equalize this entire perspective, right? So In today, we discuss infrastructure, we discuss institution, economics and policies, yet behind every system stands a human being. We can have enough of AI, we can have enough of like all this new abilities coming across, but there will always be a human being who will be running the whole system. When the computers came into existence, we said, okay, the work will go away, but new and varied amount of work came up. We need to talk about a human life. Yet every system does not really go ahead and subjugate this human being who is working behind this force. Perhaps the next chapter of nation building is not just about creating stronger system, but I believe it is about creating stronger people. Because when people thrive, the institutions thrive and the nations thrive. So it is very important, an organization like BRICS, we need to create a workforce, we need to create a system where we are talking about screening, surveillance of well-being, awareness and access to care, healing and human sustainability, health promotion, action-oriented early intervention, resilience, recovery, reintegration, definitely along with advocacy, accountability, and national impact. So we need to understand a healthy nation is not only built through healthy hospitals. It is built through healthy teachers, healthy police personnel, healthy doctors, healthy farmers, healthy entrepreneurs, healthy family, and healthy communities. So I propose that we have a project that we can work on emotional well-being, occupational resilience, and prevention of mental health problem becoming a part of your daily life. The goal is to move support from hospitals into environment where people live and work. Sometimes it's not possible. It's a luxury for even people go to therapy or meet the doctors. But what if we create a sustainable aspect where they have the same safe environment where they are working? As BRICS nation continue shaping the future of global economy, innovation, healthcare, education, and technology, we must also ask ourselves an important question. What kind of workforce are we building for the future? A workforce that is productive but emotionally exhausted? Or a workforce that is ambitious, innovative, and psychologically supported? On that note, I would want all my esteemed speakers to come online and we can start the panel discussion. I would want each of you to start with your personal experience, and I would want Lavanya to go ahead and invite all our speakers so that we can take this conversation forward. Thank you so much.
Not consider mental health as a taboo, but openly talk about it and address as we come out in the world. Before we begin with this session today, I would also like you to move, like everyone in the audience, to move to the special address today. It is my special pleasure to invite Mr. Isaac Matthew John, co-founder of Ivory, to address the audience. Mr. John is a distinguished entrepreneur and thought leader who has been at the forefront of building solutions that place human well-being, purpose, and meaningful engagement at the center of organizational growth. Through his work, he has consistently emphasized the importance of creating an environment where individuals can thrive both personally and professionally. We are delighted to have you with us, sir, today, and we forward insights and perspectives on fostering resilience, well-being, and sustainable success in an increasingly demanding world. I would again request Mr. John to kindly come forward and enlighten us with your insightful remarks.
Thank you, Lavanya, and everyone else for having us, especially the BRICS Chamber of Commerce and Dr. Momita Nandi. I might just require screen share for a second, but before I do that, can everyone hear me okay?
Yes, Isaac.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, we'll get going. I've just got like some slides to accompany some of the work that we do. In a nutshell, I am the co-founder and CEO of an early stage cognitive health company called Ivory. As all of you know, there has been a lot of discourse around physical health and how you can keep fit, the right nutrition to take, the right workout regimes to go after over the last decade. However, given the headwinds of extreme screen fatigue, burnout, somewhere along the way, our cognitive health, the way our brain functions has been left behind. A staggering statistic that comes to mind, and just as a footnote to Dr. Momita's session, is to note that in a recent report by McKinsey Institute, the average burnout rate in India is cited at 59%, whereas the global average is 20%. So if there is one country in the world which is really facing the brunt of it, it's India. And I think the collective effort of everyone who has come out here will go a long way in addressing that. Coming to Ivory, what we do, brain health is something that is unfortunately in India only measured when something has horribly gone wrong through, radiology or, things like CSF taps. Today, there are also Alzheimer's detection blood markers that are FDA approved that are available in India. However, it is not as mainstream as, let's say, your steps counter, your calorie counter, your ultra human, or your Aura ring, which tracks your recovery and sleep. And that is what we are here to change. Ivory is here to help you assess your cognitive health, your brain function, almost on a day-to-day basis, if you like, but at least to begin with, for people at workforce in extreme stressful situations, for them to assess how their core brain functions like attention, memory, executive function is really performing. And that's what we offer. We offer a suite of assessments going all the way from 2 minutes all the way up to 45 minutes. And in this regard, we've been around for about 2.5 years now in India. So we've built a lot of proprietary understanding of where does the Indian urban consumer lie, where does the Indian norms lie when it comes to things like your cognitive function. Today, we are trusted by some of India's biggest healthcare providers. I'll give you a quick snapshot of that. And as a mark of our credibility and trust, some of the world's leading companies actually partner with us exclusively. And I'd like to call out a particular company called Cambridge Cognition, which has been around for 40 years, and we are their exclusive distributors in India. So what does a cognitive assessment look like? This is just a quick snapshot. Everyone would have played some version of this game at some point of time for, maybe just simple amusement. But essentially, you do a series of tasks. Like in this case, you take a ball to the center of the maze, and we are able to tell you as to how quickly you're doing it, how accurately you're doing it. If you're making mistakes, is it on par with other people of your age and gender? Or are you making too many mistakes? Or are you taking too long? So we help you assess where do you lie on a normal distribution curve. Are you exactly where you need to be when compared to other people of your age and gender and education? Or are you declining faster? Or is it a temporary blip, that could be caused by any of these factors that we just understood? We've discussed burnout in depth today, but things like sleep, your mental health, if you're going through a neurodegenerative condition, mild cognitive impairment, these are all stressors that could actually affect your performance on a particular cognitive test. We've been around, as I said, and been fortunate to actually recognize for our work on big platforms, both international and national, over the last 2.5 years. Those are some of the names we've called out. And in a nutshell, when you do, or go through any of our assessments, as I said, you can choose either our corporate wellness assessments, which are 2.5 minutes, going up all the way to 45 minutes. Essentially, what you get is a report like these, which is like, how good is your episodic memory? How good are you at executive function? Are you struggling at, paying sustained attention? And this is essentially what we help healthcare providers with. When it comes to, who do we work with? Some of the leading clinicians and some of these hospitals that you see on the left-hand side work with us. We work with a bunch of, healthcare providers. Metropolis has designed a specific mind and body wellness package with Ivory as a core of a very differentiated offering where they drive a neurocognitive panel and we drive the cognitive assessment, and their doctor puts it together and understands as to what's the cognitive health looking like. I also see Dr. Shweta in the call here. Dr. Shweta's Limitless Brain Labs has been one of the early adopters of some of our assessments as well, and similarly a lot of other clinics as well. I'll wrap this up with a quick shout out to some of the team members who are behind this. Dr. Sumiti Saharan is a chief clinical officer. Rahul is my co-founder. He takes care of product and tech. And just to share as to why we got into the space, both Rahul and I actually have seen neurodegeneration in our own families, and that is what interested us to go deeper and deeper. And along the way, we were fortunate that we have institutions like Manipal Hospital, which became our clinical research and advisory partner. And as I said, we have support of a lot of clinicians outside who work with us. So that's our time. Once again, thank you to the BRICS Chamber of Commerce and Dr. Mamita Nandi for having us, and look forward to the discussion ahead.
Thank you so much, Dr. Isaac. That truly gave us a way into,
Yeah, just a correction. I'm not a doctor. I'm representing the company in a business capacity.
Deeper into mental featuring. Thank you. Distinguished dialogue experts from the field of psychology, medicine, healthcare, governance, and public service. The objective of this session today is to bring diverse perspectives on mental health and workplace resilience, enabling a holistic understanding of challenges and opportunities before us. With this, I would quickly like to introduce our esteemed speakers for the day, with Mr. Yashvardhan Azad, who is the retired IPS and former Special Director of Intelligence Bureau from the former Secretary Security, Government of India, and former Central Information Commissioner. With decades of experience in public service and leadership under high-pressure environments, he brings a unique perspective, decision-making, and mental well-being. Joining us next is Dr. Alok Chopra, the founder of Director of Ashok Hospital and a distinguished consultant cardiologist. Dr. Chopra will share valuable insight on the connection between cardiovascular health, stress, and workplace well-being.
Lavanya, I'll take a moment. Just a minute. I'm really sorry for interrupting. Mr. Azad is not able to join us because of some last-minute changes. I request you to proceed with the next speaker. I request each speaker to please speak a few words on this occasion, as and when you are introduced and called.
Sure. Thank you so much, Ashika, for letting me know this. All right. So I would again request Dr. Yashvardhan Azad to kindly take up the stage and highlight a few of the important points. Thank you. Till then, I would request Murthy, Professor and Head Department of Surgical Oncology Cancer Institute in Chennai. His extensive knowledge offers a practical understanding of how stress and burnout impact overall health and productivity. I may request Dr. Krishnamurthy to come forward and help us with today's session. Till the time Dr. Krishnamurthy, adjusts network, I would next request Dr. Manas Kalra, who is a senior consultant and bone marrow transplantation at Sagangaram Hospital, working with patients and families facing some of the life's toughest challenges, has given him profound insights into resilience, hope, and emotional strength. Dr. Manas Kalra, the stage is yours. I would request you to kindly help us with today's session.
बात तो आएगी क्या पे करो यहाँ नहीं आ रही हैंग हो गया क्यों का हैंग हो गया होगा भी का हैंग हो गया क्या
Uh,
तो आएगी बात रही हो
I
हैंग हो गया
believe, Miss, I believe Dr. Kalra isn't able to hear us. Just a second, quick second before we get back to his network. I next request Dr. Sweta Adatya, renowned neurologist and founder of Limitless Brain Lab. Her work focuses on understanding the human brain, peak performance, and cognitive well-being, making her perspective especially relevant to today's discussion. I request Adatya again to kindly help us with today's session.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Am I audible? And am I visible? Thank you to all those who are present here, and thank you to Dr. Nandi and BRICS for arranging such an important dialogue. There's so much to learn. I think, as Dr. Nandi, you were mentioning that we are living in a VUCA world. Yes, there is volatility, there is uncertainty, there's complexity and ambiguity. But the question is, how can we get that volatility to vision? How can we get that uncertainty into understanding? How can we get that complexity into creativity and that ambiguity into adaptability? I think the mental health definition by WHO, or health definition by WHO itself, has the component of mental, social well-being right into it. So thank you so much for building those points, because this is a great start to a policy. The numbers are completely alarming. The numbers are such that we should have started the work yesterday, and today is a great day to begin with. So I request all the policymakers also who are part of this call to take this up seriously, because we really need to work hard. I'm just going to show a couple of slides, just to make a point that, look, we are in the need where we will need the cortisol detox. We all are so much gaga about the AI, the world of AI and what is happening with AI. But without IA, and this is my humble submission, without IA, which is your inner access, until and unless we do that, AI is not going to make our lives well, or the work that we want to happen. Now, Dr. Nandi, you raised some very important points, psychological safety. And I would like to do one exercise with all of you. I want you to sit straight and close your eyes and give yourself a moment. When did you feel great at your workplace? And I want you to remember a leader, any leader who comes to your mind, any leader who comes to your mind, who has shaped you, who has worked with you, who has made something wonderful in your life. I'm sure, as you are all imagining, somebody comes up in your mind who has always been supportive, who has cared for you, who has made your life beautiful, not just inside the workplace, but also all together outside as well. Just raise your hand if that was the case. How many of you felt good about it? Now, if I ask the question in today's time, thank you for doing that, to a lot of other leadership forums, they will always have stressful images of leaders, the leaders which are making their life miserable, and it's been incomplete, the feeling which is completely disgusting which comes in. So this is what we all have to change together. We are all influencing each other in one way or the other. The time has come when we not just take care of everyone, but also us including together, because 1 in 3 people having to undergo mental illness is completely unacceptable. Illness has I in it, but wellness has we in it. And this is what the forum which we have to bring together multiple times. So my complete kudos to BRICS and Dr. Nandi for doing this. I'm Dr. Shweta Arati. I call myself a brain plumber. And the only reason why I come on these platforms is I want to stop plumbing the brains. I really want each of you to get, how Isaac said, get an understanding of where your brain is, nip it in the bud, rather than having a degenerative disease which knocks off at the end of your life or middle of the life. In fact, just last week, I had a patient, and this is such a story which is very disheartening to me. 45-year-old gentleman, works in a top MNC firm, one of the top big fours, goes to a meeting, and the wife says, "Where are you heading?" He says, "I'm going to Coimbatore." Why Coimbatore? There's a meeting. He says this meeting was 2 years back. The wife says the meeting is already over 2 years back. He is diagnosed with Alzheimer's dementia, 45-year-old with Alzheimer's dementia, quoting that workplace stress was unbearable is completely unacceptable, completely unacceptable. And hence, we will all have to work together. I'm just going to show you one image. Can you recognize what is this? Can any of you just unmute yourself and tell me what this image is? Anybody can just tell me what is this little device and a gadget which I'm showing here? Dr. Nandi, you want to take this at it, Isaac? Anybody? Okay, I'm going to share this thing. So this is Isaac. I think you unmuted. Try it out.
Is it like some kind of a anti-detonator, like a bomb?
Okay,
detonator?
great try. Now let me share what is this. We all know the Air India crash, right? We all know flights crash. This is the black box. Now, black box does not look black. It looks orange. Now, we hunt for this black box when the plane crashes. But why can't we hunt for a neuro box before the plane crashes, before the cognitive crash happens, before the mental illness sets in? And I call it the need of the hour today is to get these neuro boxes in, get everybody to understand only one principle. What you can measure, you can manage. There is no way that you can anything that can be done without measurement. So Dr. Nandi's point, let us take up burnout audits in big times. Let us take up stress audits. Let us take up wellness audits, but bearing in mind that this should not be a human resource or an HR protocol. This should be part of the human efficiency protocols where you're not judged, because the biggest problem is judgment. What if I share something which is vulnerable and I am considered weak? Now, we all will have to understand that mental illness is not weakness. Talking about mental illness is indeed more strength than anything else. And people who would have gone through, I'm one of those who has been through this, and that's why Limitless Brain Lab is here. So I got all the 13 gold medals and the top institutes and UN, and I've worked with 5 continents, did my master's from Cambridge. Everything was a check intellectually. But when an emotional crisis came in my life, a very dear friend of mine, she and me were together like, sisters. And I lost her. I mean, technically lost her on a fight, simple fight. It was completely unacceptable within me. There was a deep trauma which set in, emotional disturbances. And that was the first time I felt the need for the emotional quotient in my life. Now, neither did development of emotional quotient come that fast, neither did my intelligence help. What really helped was understanding how my brain operates, understanding how my mind operates, understanding it from the holistic perspective. Dr. Nandi touched upon 2 times. It has to be holistic. It has to be holistic. It cannot be viewed separately from it. And when I started to understand, oh, this is my mind or this is my brain, and I started to do a scan called QEEG, and I did it only for myself, a quick little scan just to see how my brain is working. And that led to the discovery of an EEG driven cognitive parameters and emotional parameters which can measure burnout, attention, focus, cognition, creativity. And I had to only do monitor my brain. And to the extent, the interesting thing was I went to ancient wisdom. I started to practice pranayama. I started to practice energy practices, breath work of different types, meditations of different types, and get all these parameters sorted. Once it was sorted for me, I felt, wow, this is like a little mathematics which is going on. If I can do it, anybody can do it. And that is how the neurosense intelligence was born. And I said, let us give the world an entire audit in one single measure. And of course, as I said, that small little tools also daily help you to understand how you are getting into the thing. So I strongly recommend that the team who is present here understands that finally it is our responsibility together to make this change from volatility to vision, uncertainty to understanding, complexity to clarity and ambiguity to adaptability. Thank you so much for
Before,
this
before I
invitation,
let you
Dr.
go,
Nandi.
Dr. Shweta, before I let you go, I have one question for you. And thank you so
Yes.
much for being present here. So, because we are talking about policy changes, right? And I know we are all clinicians, practitioners, right? And we also have members of BRICS, right? Who are there, who would definitely be helpful in helping us with governance and policy changes, right? Which is very important. You, me, Isaac, Dr. Roma, Dr. Ushi, Dr. Arvind, Dr. Vineet, whoever is present here, all the doctors, we can just like go ahead and try to meet one person at a time. But when we are talking about mental health or human sustainability audit, I have stopped using the word mental health from today. I would rather use the word human sustainability, right? Because mental health, people have started taking it as like, oh my god, man, I have nothing wrong with my mind. But human sustainability is like more about your livelihood, your resilience, your grit. So Dr. Shweta, before I let you go, looking ahead to 2047, I'm looking at the 100 years of independence, right? Like India is supposed to become the Vishwa Guru, right? That is what we are aiming for. What role do you think policy making will have in the well-being, resilience, and human sustainability in shaping India that we aspire to become?
What a beautiful question. And thank you again to all of you who is present here and the initiation from the BRICS. Because without the commercial this of it, I feel that every single person's mental health is contributing to the GDP of the nation. And I think when would we integrate happiness like a small country like Bhutan, who has been having happiness as an index into the country's policy? Because until and unless, and I live in UAE, and UAE has a happiness minister. So until and unless we integrate and say that let us label this particular positions as important, policy changes are not going to happen. Now, India, I think, is the Vishwa Guru. Still, when we compare the West and the East, we don't have to become a Vishwa Guru because we have Eastern traditions. I told you that, I also came out from pranayamas and yogic breathing and so many things, which was just, literally, we all talk about IQ and we go to these Cambridge, Harvard, and Oxfords, etc. and all. But in the good old days, the ancient rishis of India had IQ of a different type, which was intuitive quotient. They would just sit in meditation and then download all the stuff. So we have to reinvigorate this sort of the power, the Eastern power or the power of our Indian ancient culture that we have, because we used to live together and now joint families, just husband and wife living together, unfortunately. So we have to have the social system back again. We have to have our culture, our festivals back again. We will have to do it again from the grassroots. And definitely 2047, there'll be a lot of young force which is going to come in. We are a young country. As a demographic, we are a young country. So somewhere initiating youth protocols, bringing them and giving them the entire thing in their hands and then taking forwards should be the need of the hour.
Thank you so much. That was very insightful. So you also believe that we need to, like we have economic indicators, we also need to have a human sustainability indicator.
100% we should have it. And
So
in our
Isaac,
own
I think
lives,
you as a team, or rather we all as a team, should work on a human sustainability indicator before we go ahead with the policy. Alongside, we can definitely have a human sustainability indicator, because until and unless we have something based on that, I'm watching something very interesting on Netflix. It has recently come. If any of you is interested, please go ahead. It's a limited edition OTT. It's called Teach You Lesson. I mean, it's a Korean OTT. Basically, the whole idea about it is like how schools right now have become a hub for drug peddlers, vaping, uh, like like sexual molestation, right? And teachers are not respected, right? So they came up with a bureau where they are trying to protect the students and also the teachers so that they can protect education. I think that is the same way we can talk about a human sustainability indicator, right? So thank you so much, Isaac. Thank you so much, Dr. Adatia. And I would ask Lavanya to please introduce our next speaker. Let's move ahead. There are so many speakers waiting online, and I would love to hear from all of them.
I think Lavanya is muted.
In the meantime, can I ask one question to Shweta ma'am?
Can you hear me now? Hello. Am I audible to everyone? Hello, can you hear me?
Sweetheart, there is some issues with your connectivity for sure. I don't know. Like, there is, you are audible, you're audible, but there is some problem with the connectivity. So can we move on to the next speaker, Lavanya?
Sure. Definitely. I believe I am audible to everyone now. Moving on to the next speaker, we have Dr. Ushi Mohandas, who is the CEO and co at Ushi's Wisdom Works. Professor Dr. Ushi Mohandas, a renowned doctor, a TEDx speaker, leadership coach, and a founder of Dr. Ushi Wisdom Work. With over 40 years of experience, she has coached and inspired thousands of leaders worldwide to work in mental health, communication, and leadership. Creator of the Mind Workshop and the co-founder of 5M Meditation, she is widely recognized for making complex concepts of the mind and spirituality practical and accessible to all. A national award-winning reformer in medical education, she has also played a significant role in advancing transparency and policy reforms in the sector. Her engaging blend of wisdom, humor, and insights make her one of the most sought-after speaker and coaches today. We are very grateful for you, Dr. Mohandas, to join us today and we welcome you and present the floor to you. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you very much, Dr. Maumita. Dr. Shweta, great to see you. I love you. And
Dr. Ushi, we love you too.
Yes, so I don't hold back the fact that you need to love. And I think the world needs a lot more of love. We are all great competitors, and many people, they believe I'm better than you, you're better than me. I'm of the firm belief that I'm nothing. And everything the lady just read out is what I do, ladies and gentlemen. What I do is not who I am. And if you're ready to separate those two, you'll do what you do much better. And people are always saying, I mean, if you ask them, who are you? They tell you what they're doing. And that's how disconnected the world is today. We live in a society which is highly reactive. A biryani and 370 rupees has changed the logistics of this country. Damn, that's just a comedian. And somebody just said something which may not be great, but stop reacting, damn it. That doesn't make you or make the country. So for me, ladies and gentlemen, the most difficult times for many of us is the one that we give ourselves. We live in a world of self-flagellation. We live in a world where we believe we are not good enough. We live in a world where we are tired of us, we are tired of our parents, we are tired of our teachers, we are tired of our bosses. Any occasion to complain and crib is what people are looking at. And if the brain is getting so attached to automated negative thoughts, there seems to be some problem out here, especially in our education system. There's too much of information out there. Forget the education. There is information overload today, which we did not have as people who were growing up. There is this burden to be perfect amongst all of us. We want to be the best at what we do. And let me tell you, Dr. Shweta, I respect you tremendously, and I'll send everything that needs to be measured to you. But what I do cannot be measured. Like, for example, I love you. How the hell do I measure that? For example, if I tell you, Mao, I respect you, how the hell do you measure that?
With a hug. All I want is a hug from you.
You cannot. And don't answer me when I'm speaking, right? So we don't hold our spaces, right? We don't hold the space that we belong to, which means that if you do not change your thinking, your experience will keep repeating itself. It will recycle. And it's really important to manage the thought and the thinking. They're two different things. And from where I come, I deal with children who are below the age of 20 most of the time. And let me tell you, according to the great statistics, which might have been a few years ago, and I don't trust because I believe, ladies and gentlemen, there's lies, absolute lies, and then statistics. I believe that about 20 plus children today below the age of 18 want to end themselves. And this is alarming in this country. If you look at all the children who've ended themselves, they come from the premier institutions in this country. They have no reason not to be happy. They worked so hard to get there. Now, what is it that made them end themselves? 90% of those who end themselves do not even mention it. They just go and end themselves. If you look at the parents, they're still staying in a state of shock. And they say, we provided everything. They had a fantastic home. They had everything, amenities, materialistic benefits. Every single thing that formed their environment was what a child who's living in poverty would dream to have. But guess what? The rate of suicide amongst the below poverty line is much lesser than the privileged children. And that means that materialism will not bring you happiness nor managing thoughts. So how on earth can an unhappy child move on to becoming a happy worker? I don't see that. Because the fabric itself is that of unhappiness. You want everything. I joined an organization. I went to a corporate recently. And guess what? They gave me 150 children below the age of 25. And they told me, Dr. Ushi, we are not able to reach them. They said, we are not able to communicate with them. And they seem to be quiet. They're introverted. There were a whole load of labels given to this bunch of children who preferred to stay quiet rather than speak up. Because they say to me, they chose to speak to me because of a reason that you accept us the way we are. And I think that's the biggest thing in today's world, to be accepted for who we are and not create cheap imitations of who we want everyone to be. You look at a school, everyone is trained towards 99.9. If somebody moves out of the path, I mean, like a flock of sheep, you generally herd them and bring them together. In organizations, it's the same. Who recruits whom? You go to an institution which is the premier in the country, you recruit people from there, where people are actually under a lot of pressure when they were studying. The pressure is already built up. They don't have a mechanism to release it. They don't have a mechanism except for the fact that you need to be the best. You need to be the best. You need to be the best. I would tell people, please do not be the best. There's a lot of pressure out there. Please be original and authentic. There is less pressure out there. I've been a ranked student. I've stood out in the university. I've stood out of classrooms. I do what people don't do. Though I might be a scientist, I'm also a stand-up comedian. And I will buy my biryani for 370 rupees. And whatever anybody says, I know where that chap came from. I know where the girl came from, because they are performing to get some kind of validation from the outside world. When you are internally validated, just like somebody said, IA and not AI, I don't think we are so away from who we are as people. If you want to be happy, Dr. Maumita, they say for 10 days, if you want happiness, you grow what? You grow grains. If you want to be happy for maybe 20 years, you grow trees. But if you want to be happy for 100 years, you grow people. Our people need to be grown as individuals, not as collective sheep and lions and wolves and lambs. And believe me, the politics is full of a species I will not be talking about in this forum. But it's just empty talk. It's just empty talk. I mean, because speech is for free, everyone comes out there and keeps giving speeches. And mental health is, sorry to say, become a joke, except for a few of us who may be sitting here and a few of the people who are actually listening to us. I take this opportunity to tell people that half the therapists, sorry to say, need therapy themselves. And when I'm not happy, I cannot make you happy. When I don't know how to deal with my sadness, I cannot teach you how to deal with your sadness. Everyone is a teacher. Who the hell is the student then? And today, kids really have everything accessible on Google. Some of the kids who I speak to, they tell me, ma'am, we don't need a teacher. We can study on Google. There are another bunch of kids who speak to me, and then they say, Ushi, ma'am, the moment the PPT is on, we know it's time to sleep. Guess what? They're just too honest out there in your face. And they will come up to me who may be having gray hair, and they come up to me and say, ma'am, we expected better from you. And guess what I say? Thank you. I will look into it. Which means that we are all burning in comfort zones. We need to get out of there and teach the kids also to be okay with not being comfortable, to be okay with who they are, making the mistakes they do. If one is a quick learner, there's also a slow learner. If everyone is just neurologically the same, why do we have this big word called neurodivergent, which is now used as a shield? If I have a choice of maybe being a heterosexual, let somebody else have the choice of being whoever they are. But if they have a choice of becoming a tree, a cat, or winter, summer, and being a flower, I think they need to come to us. And I'll give you an example of a school where I recently went, where 42 male children wished to wear female uniforms because they felt like girls. Now, you were talking about a 15-year-old. And guess what? The teacher was reprimanding them, saying, Ye to ladke hai, how can they wear a girl's uniform? Guess what? We had 4 or 5 of us who spoke to them maybe over a period of 8 weeks. And today, just 4 of them want to wear girls' uniform. Everybody else has come back into trying to be who they are, which I call alignment. There is only one solution to good mental health: be in alignment to who you are. The moment you are in alignment to who you are, everything else around you will slowly fit into place. I take this opportunity to also quote one brilliant student from IIT. And he told me, Ushi ma'am, I think myself out of happiness a million times a day, but I never think myself into happiness even once a day. And so we have 1,000 reasons to be unhappy. You ask me as a doctor, I've not prescribed for the last 15 to 20 years. And I will not prescribe medication, because medication, ladies and gentlemen, unless and until you've really reached a point of being a social nuisance or maybe hurtful physically to yourself or to others, I will say that please, let's restrict medication, because the medication only suppresses something and damages a lot of other organs. There are doable things. They're very easy to do things. They're controllable things. They're simple things, even such as breathing. I'm sure Dr. Shweta will agree. What you eat, what you talk, what you breathe, and of course, being aware of who you are, that will bring you back into a state of well-being. And well-being is not permanent. We all know how to deal with joy and happiness, but very few of us know how to deal with criticism, feedback, appraisal. We want everything good all the time. It's not possible. It's just not possible. Yesterday after I gave a talk, a gentleman walked up to me, by the way, a doctor, and you know what he told me? Your talk was fabulous, but next time don't wear the same lipstick. And guess what? I just smiled and I said, thank you so much. I will buy myself another one. And he started laughing because he knew sometimes we've got to mirror people. We don't get on the same page, because 90% of people, when they express negative to you, don't drown in their negativity. Instead, show them the mirror, because they are only expressing themselves to you. It's not about you. We are very you-centric. I feel that at some point, there's a lot more than I to me. And if you keep that small little I aside, then you start seeing the we that Dr. Shweta just mentioned about. And for me, I'm just an extension of all of you. I teach people that. I may be black, I may be white, I may be gray, I may be fat. I mean, somebody may think that for $370 a biryani, he can come and hold me, hug me, kiss me, but I won't allow you. Your intentions may be great, but I'm not going to allow you. So I believe that boundaries and respecting others' boundaries, very important. Don't get butthurt for nothing. And I'm sorry, but the language young people use is calm your tits. I'm not sure, but I will just say calm yourself. And I want people to stay calm, stay away from the chaos. How? A, B, and C. Very easy. Just stay in where you are. Now I'm here, 100% of me is with you guys. Be 100% where you are. Stop thinking, what should I cook? Is my pressure cooker going to burst? Is my maid coming? Is my dog running out? Is my cat going to climb up behind me? Because normally all these are least worrying for me. There are times when I've done a webinar where I've had a chuddy hanging behind me, and that shouldn't be bothering you, because your job is not to look good, it's to feel good, and to make sure that when I share something, other people feel good. Because for me, other people's happiness matters a lot, and that's why I keep telling, grow people, grow people, grow people. Don't grow just one person. Please stop telling the class, oh, all the good ones sit in the front bench. Sit in any bench, but dare to be who you are. And I think that's a challenge I would like to place before all of you. Awareness. Second, very simple conscious breathing. You don't need to be Baba or Bhabhi Ramdev. Sorry, you can be just you. And all you have to do is conscious breathing, right? What is conscious breathing? Between every in-breath and out-breath, just teach the youngsters to hold for 6 to 7 seconds. If not 6, 5 seconds. But hold between two breaths. How difficult is that? 6 breaths, no, 4 breaths in, hold for 4 if you can, or 5, and liberate maybe double, which means 8 seconds of out breath. How difficult is that? Which means I become conscious of my breath. If you manage your breath, the youngsters will become less unhappy. They become less depressed. Depression is a buzzword. It's a very trending word. And if you don't have depression today, it's almost like, oh shit, she doesn't have depression. And everyone is very happy because me and me have depression. Mental health is more a happening thing than something that people need to really focus on. All the body is connected to your mind, the body is connected to the brain. The whole of India will go around saying, I have heart attack, I have kidney failure, my lungs have failed, but I've rarely heard people say that I have depression, anxiety, in especially the 40 plus age group, when they do have a lot of suffering. Suffering is a choice. Going through is something very easy. And this doesn't mean material. So A is awareness, B is breathing, and the last one, watch what you say to yourself. Self-talk. We indulge in a lot of self-talk. I'm fat, I'm thin, I'm dark, I'm old. There are many people who come to me and say, oh, you have gray hair, so what? That's a sign of wisdom. And for those of you who come and say something nasty, I tell them, if you have cow dung in your head, your hair will grow strong. And you need to be ready to just block those kind of people who are trying to puncture you and bring you down. And the reason I say this, because you can only take care of you, nobody else. If someone is getting light from you, so be it. I tell kids, that's the door, mate. You want to open it, open, but I will not force you there. The generation of I can only take the horse to the water, I can't make it drink, is full of excuses. I would say make the horse thirsty. It will find any one of us. It will find any one of these nations. It will find anybody who can maybe just show them the light. And the walking has to be done by them. It's an extremely lazy lot that's come here, because even food is available with the click of a mouse, with the press of a button. I have a 10-year-old who asks an app, am I hungry? And when the app says, yes, you are, the kid goes and eats his food. I have digital detox. We have words like textiety, ringxiety. Can you imagine definitions of words? If the phone doesn't ring, you get anxious. If it rings too often, you get anxious. If I get text, I'm anxious. If I don't get text, I'm anxious. I mean, you're more possessive about your phone. We have a lot of digital issues in today's generation. I will ask everyone here, stay away from your phones as much as possible, except when needed. It makes you who you are. And this doesn't influence you, because every single thing that we see here, or even here, and touch, taste, will influence you. And finally, if at least 3 out of your 5 senses are not alert, active, and who you are, stop following all the influencers. I'm sorry to say. Just do your own thing. You listen to them and do your own thing, which means that you're balanced as a person. Happy, sad, black, white, ugly, beautiful. Everything has a contrarian view. And I want kids to understand that we live in a world where the missiles are guided and men are misguided. I mean, what the heck? I mean, you love your phones more than your folks sometimes. What the heck? I have people who steal iPhones because they say we have peer pressure. All my classmates have Apple, and I'm the only one who doesn't have it. Be proud of what you have. And that's why it's called self-love, self-worth, self. Everything is about self. Most of us have abandoned ourselves. And if I ask them, who are you? It's too far away. And that's when you will end yourself, because you're unable to find yourself. And I would want maybe this organization, to whom I'm extremely grateful for giving me this platform, to understand that anyone driving faster than us in the younger generation is a maniac. And anyone driving slower than me is an idiot. So how do you drive finally? So it's basically your drivers. Love, respect, trust, faith. These have to be your drivers. They cannot be measured. And what I deal with is probably the most ambiguous area. It's called behavior. We actually chop behavior. I do parenting. I do teachers. I have a lot of my friends here. Dr. Mrinalini, thank you. Every one of you who I can see. Dr. Shweta, I can see you only here. You're forever so busy. It's lovely to see you, Dr. Mao. Thank you for pursuing me. I don't do online sessions because you need to feel the energy, because energy is a commodity that we can do with a lot of. And once we understand that we can do a lot with energy, the value of silence is understood. So I take this time to say thank you to all. My name is Ushi Mohan Das. I don't like the name Ushi Mohan, right? It's only half my name. And whenever people call me Ushi Mohan, I'm always like, I need to kick you where it hurts. So stop being God. We are human beings. We make mistakes. Learn to say sorry. Learn to say thank you. Appreciation should be out there, not going and sucking up to people. And the younger people don't do that easily. If they really love you, it means you have something in you. And don't strive only for that. When you're authentic, even those who are very young, there's no generation XYZ. I've not seen the brain change. I've not seen the heart change, but the way it works definitely changes. People with large foreheads, I'm told today by my scientist friend that their prefrontal cortex has really increased in size. So yeah, I'm so happy. Or I can look at it as, oh shit, I'm losing my hair. I care it down. And that's why I keep telling people that please start living like that's your last day on this earth. It would matter a lot. Life is awesome. I seriously, I've seen cases of illness where I've seen people cut themselves. I've seen people in very intense state of mental ailments. I wish you well. Like every one of us believes, a lot of things can be prevented. Remember the boys who came back into their state of accepting themselves for who they are. A lot needs to be dealt with at the school. And I think that's all where it begins, because a lot of trauma and stuff is spoken about. The biggest trauma is that we inflict ourselves with pain. We carry thoughts. There are people who come to me and say, I hate this family, you know. I'll never forgive them for generations. Good luck to you. I mean, somebody will benefit with the medications they've got to give you. There is no storing space for anything negative. But handling negativity will require the help of measurable things and maybe things that can't be measured. Learning to work with each other is an art, and everyone works against each other. There are very few people who will work together because we are different, we are unique, and we must complement each other. Thank you, BRICS. Thank you to everybody. I believe in a power which is beyond us. I believe in an energy which I feel every single day. I've cured people without having met them, and I don't know how the hell that happens. And if you can help me understand that, I'll be very grateful. The Baba and the Bhabhi business in India is roaring because they exploit people like that. we can do it to ourselves. Dr. Shweta understands. Once we understand what we can do with ourselves, the sky is not the limit, your mind is. Back to you, Mao.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much. I think you have answered the questions that I was dealing with, like, can ambition coexist with emotional well-being? You answered that very well, so impactful. Can workplaces be productive without being psychologically punishing? You answered that too. And can leadership include empathy without compromising accountability? And I would really want to thank you, ma'am, because after what you said, I want to say something, that the soul is here to learn, not to achieve. The soul is here to learn. So thank you so much, Dr. Ushi, Dr. Shweta. We move on to our next speaker, to Lavanya.
Sure, Dr. Nandi. A very, very thanks to Dr. Ushi Mohandas. Thank you so much for telling us what exactly we needed to hear today. We are very grateful to you. Moving on to the next speaker, we have with us Dr. Roma Kumar, who is a senior consultant psychologist at Sri Gangaram Hospital. With her extensive experience in mental health and counseling, she has helped countless individuals navigate personal and professional challenges, making her insights especially valuable for today's audience. Over to you, Dr. Roma.
Thank you so much, Lavanya, and thank you, BRICS, for giving me this platform to be here. And more than anyone, thank you, Momita, for getting me here. And speaking after Ushi Mohandas is like, I don't know what I'm going to speak. You were too good, Ushi. Ushi Mohandas, as you said, you like to name the full name. And of course, my earlier speaker, Dr. Shweta, spoke really well. Well, I come here with almost 4 decades of experience in the field of psychology, in the field of mental health. And I began at a time when hospitals didn't even talk of mental health and psychology. And I began the departments, especially the department for child development, department for high-risk newborns. And the journey remains there. And of course, I work a lot with children. I work a lot with families. I'll do a lot of work with parenting. My earlier speakers have been saying everything, but what I'm going to just talk about is, I think if we begin with children, we'll make a lot of change. And for the next many years, I think that change will remain. And if we begin with children, we begin with their parents. And working with them will create space for emotional health taking place. And I love this word, emotional plumbing. Shweta, I think you use that word, emotional plumbing. And I keep using the word emotional switchboard. And that switchboard is there with all of us. And I think we attach a lot of meaning to a lot of external factors. And those external factors create issues within ourselves. We're not able to deal with situations. What is required more, and especially in Momita's words, the sustainability, the human sustainability part of it, I think we all need to work collectively. It's not going to be with me, Roma, 4 decades, with Ushi Mohandas for so many decades, and with Mrinalini, with Shweta, with everybody working in their own fields. I think if we get together and do a collective work together, I think that's what is going to change. I work with so many corporates, and what I see is that we don't want to talk about our emotions. In fact, we talk about that person needs a psychologist, that person needs to go and see a counselor. But we don't actually make them feel that they actually need that help, but we go and attack them. So these negative emotions keep on sitting with us. We don't like to talk about shame. We don't like to talk about guilt. We don't like to talk about, these feelings which keep on harboring within ourselves. So if we vent those feelings out, and if we allow people to talk about feelings, I think that's what is going to change, and not judge them that they are going to talk about it. If I have blood pressure, if I have hypertension, I'm so okay to talk about it. If I have diabetes, I'm so okay to talk about it. I have thyroid, very well talking about it. But if I'm just feeling low, And if I'm just feeling sad, I don't want to talk about it because I'll get judged. That's not fair. That's part of me, like the body and the mind is connected together. So I think we need to change the vocabulary, we need to change the diction around it, and the language we use with ourselves. Like Ushi Mohandas talked about, how we talk to ourselves. And in my practice, I use a lot of this talking, that how we talk to ourselves, how we connect with ourselves, only then the thought and the feeling, the emotion is going to change. So I guess working together in not just hospitals, but working together in all areas is going to help create that area where emotions are going to get addressed. It's not mental health, it's the emotions, it's the feelings, it's the feeling of being well, it's the feeling of being happy. You ask someone, are you happy? And they keep quiet for a moment. They don't know what happiness means. Are you having joy? No understanding of that. Everything is associated to somebody external. If something has happened, you don't take accountability, you don't take ownership, because you're not allowed to. From childhood, you're told it's somebody else's mistake, it's not yours. So you don't take ownership, you don't take accountability, and then you'll end up with having problems with your environment, with yourself, with your productivity, with your grades, and the expectations that are built up from the environment, from your parents, from the extended families, from the schools. It's collective pressure that is built up on the little child who's all the time asked to perform, right from the time he's smiling, right from the time he's using a few words. There is so much pressure because we want that the child needs to be 100%, has to be perfect, a perfect mom, a perfect dad, a perfect family, a perfect school. We're not allowed to make any mistakes, not allowed to fall. If we don't fall, I don't see how we're going to rise, how we're going to work together. So I think our professions, all of us together, if we work collectively under one frame, I think that's going to do the job. And what Dr. Ushi Mohandas also said that, we therapists, there are, at a time when I began my practice, we didn't know what therapists were all about. And now we have this kind of Instagram therapists who are talking about everything and anything and not really addressing the problem. That's where the issue is, because we feel, okay, that much is addressed. Now I am done. I should go to the chat GPT or any other AI platform and put a question and I'll get my answer and I'm treated. I don't need a psychologist. That's the problem. So we need to change that language, need to change that acceptance to the degree that we all have had. We've had so many years of education to understand the human mind. And that human mind, when we understand, we are able to deal with it. And if we make mistakes, it's okay. If I don't get grades, it's okay. I sit on a chair where I didn't get 100 on 100 on anything. Nothing at all. I sit on that chair, creating an environment for children, for parents, for individuals, for organizations, for the government. I think we all need to create some policies, some changes, and things will get better. You can see what happened to the children who've given exams, to the NEET exam. What really happened? Those children who put in so much effort, aren't they going to be in pressure? Aren't they going to lose it? We've already lost children with this. What are we doing? What's changed? Is there a changed pattern? Yes, we've had breakdown of family systems, but has it changed, overhauled us into so much of negativity? I think we need to change that. Thank you once again, Momita, for getting me here and meeting all the new people. I'm going to remain connected with all of you, and thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Roma. I think you made a very important point that if we invest more on work for resilience, productivity will grow by itself. Right. Yes. I was very impressed when you, and also Dr. Ushi mentioned about how developing the child is more important, right? That is where we start from. And I believe, as we all have accumulated over here, that we are really, really insisting that we work on some indicator, we work on some policy change that works from the source, the grassroots level, so that we can have the One Health, One Nation framework that we always talk about. Thank you so much, Dr. Kumar. Over to Lavanya. I would want you to introduce our next speaker, please. Thank you so much.
For that affects that is just not the media right now. Moving to the next speaker, I would like to invite on stage Dr. Vineet Malhotra. Dr. Malhotra is an experienced medical professional whose work observation across healthcare setting to wellness and human resilience. The stage is yours, Dr. Malhotra. Would like to hear from you next.
Yeah,
Also,
thank you, Lavanya, and thank you, Mamita, for having me here. I think I'm learning here. I don't know how much I can contribute in terms of thought or suggestions, but I'll leave it to my own experience of managing my staff and my urology team with me. I'm a urologist and andrologist. Have a independent practice. I have a hospital in Navjeevan Vihar and a small daycare center in Gurugram. And the challenges that you face are based on two things that we've seen in workplace resilience. When we talk about, we're looking at a balance between efficiency and possible comfort and reward. And that's something that we always try to reach. And the smaller institutes, like mine is a very small organization. So in a small organization, we don't have the wherewithal to have greater teams to manage that, and hence it's usually left to us as promoters or directors to be providing those same services within the workplace. And I would possibly look at solutions from or suggestions from you as to how that balance could be better maintained. I found that if you have a checks and balances systems, it means if I have this is something which I've always looked at with efficiency, because I like to compare any industry with the benchmark of the airline industry. So you have something that puts in a check and balances. So you have that, whatever you call it, Six Sigma, whatever. If I have a system that has that tick mark to everything that has to go in, then I know that I can have efficiency at reasonably low stress, because it's an automated system. So what we try to do is we have these automated systems. You can rely on efficiency then, because then it almost becomes a responsibility of everyone as an individual and as a team to respond to that. The problem comes with incentivization and rewards, because that's where the real challenge within an organization arises. And we've had challenges with those, whether it's related to incentivizing someone that's doing better or reprimanding someone who isn't. This is where the challenge comes in, and we're still learning. So, more than anything, I'm glad to be here so that I can look at opinions from everyone on this esteemed panel to understand how that is managed, because I would believe ours is more a homegrown method. Thank you again, Momita, for having me here.
Dr. Malhotra, I'm glad that you gave us a case study where you talked about workforce yourself. We were talking about creating something and you gave us an example, right? So, I mean, this is exactly what we were talking about, how we can manage a workforce. So whatever we discussed so far can definitely be implemented. What's your take on a policy change or some kind of a governance policy, creating the One Health, One Nation framework? What is your take on that?
Yeah, I think it's a very good initiative. If implemented, I think that would make a lot of sense. And probably, I don't know how much of a overall reach that would have, but yes, it makes a lot of sense.
Wonderful, wonderful. Might be we will use your organization as a pilot project to start this One Health, One Nation framework, right? If you allow. Thank you so much, Dr. Malhotra. Lovely having you. Over to you, Lavanya. Let's move on to the next speaker, please. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Dr. Nandi. Thank you so much, Malhotra, for providing us the insights that you just did. Next on in our speaker list, we have Dr. Kumar Mishra. Dr. Mishra is a renowned intensivist with over 15 years of extensive experience and is known for his strong critical expertise developed at some of India's leading hospitals. He specializes in management of critically ill patients, including those required ventilator support, patients with severe infections and low blood pressure shocks, and of course, the mental well-being too. He's experienced in managing patients requiring all sorts of therapies and is here to provide us with the insights from his experiences. Over to you, Dr. Mishra. We would love to hear from you for our session.
Hi, thank you to everyone. Hello.
We can hear you, sir.
Okay. Hi. Thank you, BRICS Chamber of Commerce, and thanks, Dr. Momita, for giving me this opportunity to speak on this platform. So basically, if let's start off with myself, and I must say a lot of really good information coming up from all the speakers previous who have spoken. And coming to the questions that Dr. Momita has put initially, starting off with my introduction, I am basically an intensivist. I have done my MBBS, MD, DNB, and then my DM in critical care medicine from AIMS, New Delhi. Then I worked as director critical care in multiple hospitals in Delhi. And currently, I'm working as a unit director in Venkateshwar Hospital in Dwarka. And along with it, I have started my own hospital, which is running at 20-bedded capacity as of now. And that is in Dwarka itself. So I get the opportunity of working both as an employee for some other hospital and as an employer. But when I stand as an employee, I am there in most of the decision making opportunities, because generally when you work as a director, you have to lead a lot of administrative decisions. So I direct a team of around 150, out of which like 40-50 doctors would be there, and then hundreds around 100 to 120 staff would be there. So I'm leading this bigger team when I'm working for some other hospital. When I employ a team of 20 people who in my own hospital. So if we see what is this workplace resilience, like if we see the mental health of employees, we find that almost 1 in 4 people are having this distress, that is imbalanced mental health at work due to some or the other pressures. Now, why is it like that? That is because there is a gap. There's a gap between the employer and the employee. Now, again, when I come as an employer, what I see that gap exists there also. I can't have the total control of the employees out there. Now, why is it like that? And is it like a common problem, or is it the gap? I believe it's not a common problem. It's a problem that can be sorted out. How? By filling the gap. I have been trying it in a smaller scale. When I'm leading the team out here in bigger hospital, I'm trying to do that. When I'm trying to lead my own team in my own hospital, I'm trying to do that. Now, if we see the data globally, this is regarding maybe my own experience, which can be biased. If we see the data globally, due to the work health, that is the work pressure, the stress that is coming up, that's some mental issues that are propping up, the world economy is suffering a loss of almost $1 trillion annually. Now that's a huge amount, $1 trillion of loss. Why is the loss due to? Due to people leaving the job, absenteeism, low productivity, and miscellaneous other employee. How do we sort that? As we talked, it is due to the gap that is there between the employers and the employee. Now, how do we sort it? There are various ways how we can sort it. There are techniques like we have to build relationships between the managers and the working staff so they don't get blind deadlines, out of proportion deadlines, that okay, you have to finish this work within this stipulated amount of time, else you're fired. We live in a country of over 150 crores. Now, one person goes and the other person comes in. This job insecurity, I believe at workplace, every person is insecure as of now. Most engineers, after the initiation of AI, medical professionals, everywhere there's a lot of insecurities. This creates a lot of mental issues that, okay, workers, they try to achieve those impossible deadlines. Okay, we have to do that. And in achieving those deadlines, what do they get? Anxiety, depression. They get so anxious that they lose their sleep. Their productivity decreases. Ultimately, they're not an asset anymore to the organization. They become a liability because of low productivity. Now, the organization feels he is a liability, although he is trying his best to be an asset. But due to mental health issues, this person who was trying his level best has been a liability for the organization, ultimately losing his job. So, what can be done to halt this process? What can be done to stop this process? I believe that the managers, the things has to come from the leadership point of view. That okay, the managers has to be trained first. I believe everyone must have read the book called Ikigai. The only secret to longevity is socialize. So this is the most important component. You have to create society among organizations who help each other. Workplace groups has to be created. Workplace assistance has to be. The managers has to understand the warning signs, the red flag signs that okay, this person is having anxiety. This is not eustress, this is distress. Eustress is productive, but distress is leads to low productivity. So this is distress, and we have to work on this person specifically by counseling, by giving him therapies, by giving him compliments regarding his whatever little achievements are there. So the main thing has to become from the leaders, from the managers. So the managers training has to be appropriate. They have to be trained regarding the red flag signs. What are the red flag signs? What else can be done? This organizational employee assistance program, they have to be there. The counseling sessions, it has to be highly confidential. A part of that, the mental health can't come without the physical health. Fitness programs should be initiated in all the organizations, not only mentally but physically also. Manager training, as I told you. So, and as the previous speakers told, the mindfulness, we have to give mindfulness training, yogas, the sessions has to be there, meditations and sessions has to be there. So all this will lead to less of anxiety at the workplace, and the workplace resilience would be better, and the productivity would increase definitely. So these are the techniques how we can cover it up. But are we in a position like Dr. Momita was constantly telling one thing about 2047? Are we really in a condition to do that? We have a population of 100 over 150 crores. But then when I sit with the top management of any hospital, I've worked in almost 4 or 5 big hospitals across Delhi. So when I sit with the top management, what I find that the top management is insistent in cutting down the workforce as much as possible. We used to this hamper the work that is going on, but then they, without caring for the mental health of the employees, just cut the workforce. We need to bring up the graph. Those MBA psychology comes in at that point of time. Now, if we combine that MBA psychology to the $1 trillion annual losses that the whole of the world is facing annually, probably we can square up on something which will be a solution to this workplace anxiety, to this mental illness, to this constant recurring problem that is there, and we can solve it out. So it's basically has to be done at a higher level first, then at council level, and then at a worker level. So this is my take, and this is what I feel. So I would love to accept questions if there are any. Thank you.
Dr. Mishra, that was very, very enlightening. Again, as I said, because you have your own hospital, you shared some very live case studies on how you have been dealing with people on a regular basis on absenteeism, on retention, right? So I think these are very, very important. What do you think? What is it like? Let's talk about what are the economic consequences of burnout or disengagement, and what is the future of emotional healthy workplace? I think is what you beautifully personified, and I'm really thankful to you for that, because that is very important. If you're thinking about healthy nation, we have to think about healthy people. If you're thinking about increasing our GDP, we have to think about making sure that we have productive like workforce. So thank you so much, Dr. Mishra. It was pleasure listening to you. Over to you, Lavanya, our next speaker, please. Thank you so much.
For giving the opportunity.
We are grateful to you one more time. For our next speaker, I would like to invite Dr. Krishnamurthy, Professor and Head of Department of Surgical Oncology, Cancer Institute, WIA in Chennai. His extensive knowledge offers a practical understanding of how stress and burnout impact overall health and productivity. Over to you, Dr. Krishnamurthy. I'm looking forward to hear from you.
Right. Good afternoon, everybody. And at the outset, I must thank the BRICS Chambers of Commerce and Industry for organizing this important webinar on multiple topics. And I thought I would just focus on mental health and workplace resilience. It's a privilege to have been a part of a lot of the discussion that's ensued till now. I think a lot of people have spoken so elegantly. I feel so ill-prepared, maybe because I'm basically my domain expertise is surgeries and surgical oncology. I must say that when I was training as a young doctor, the term burnout was almost unheard of in our vocabulary. We used to work extremely long hours, managed very, very heavy patient load, faced intense academic and clinical pressures, yet we just simply kept pushing ourselves. Resilience in those days was often equated with the ability to endure without actually complaining. The phenomenon of burnout was actually rarely discussed or recognized, and I myself, to be very frank, I was ignorant of the fact that such a phenomenon ever existed. But I guess today it's completely different. I'm actually seeing burnout amongst a couple of my residents, a few of my colleagues as well. I see bright, young, dedicated doctors, emotionally exhausted, physically drained, and sometimes even beginning to question the very choice of their profession. This is very, very clinically visible in certain high profession fields, high pressure fields, like, for example, in oncology, where I currently practice, and a lot of the clinical care, wherein I'm also dealing, and a lot of life and death decisions are actually made. Prolonged patient sufferings at times are there, repeated exposures to grief and loss, difficult family conversations at times we have, and the emotional weight of actually delivering bad news for some of these patients. The same passion that once drove them is now being tested by this intense demands. Of course, it's compounded by long duty hours, a lot of administrative apathy to some extent, some burdens, and maybe it's clearly causing a blurring of the work-life boundaries as such we are seeing. But on the other hand, it's not that this is there amongst everybody. There are clearly certain people who seem immune to it. For example, I myself, for some reason, even now I continue to juggle multiple different things. I'm not able to give 100% every time, but somehow I guess, something motivates me. I guess it's sometimes it's the inner passion to sort of, deliver. Sometimes I love the challenges in this environments that I'm facing. And sometimes what is happening is the love and affection that the patients and the caregivers shower is something that, possibly keeps me going. But this may not be true for everybody, is it? I must say that it is not because the present day residents or nurses or any persons in the workforce are less capable or less committed. On the contrary, what I am seeing as they seem to be more aware, they are willing to acknowledge that something is wrong. But the system, our systems as such, may not have actually evolved in the same place as it has to be. The demands are increased dramatically, but I feel that the structured support for mental health has lagged behind. Of course, in our hospital, we do have a department of psycho-oncology, and Momita was, in fact, I'm happy to say she was with us. She trained. I'm so proud to sort of, see her chairing this forum of elegant people across specialties talking about various domains, including maybe human sustainability index. I heard you, Momita, say that and talk of a lot of claims as to how to make India as a happy nation, possibly by 2047, or possibly, I must say, much earlier also. On the other hand, I must just share another anecdote. Many years back, we had a couple of people who had come to us from the University of McGill, and they came to our institute, which is a regional cancer center called the Cancer Institute, which is there in Adyar. It's been there for more than 70 years now. Having trained in the Tatas and coming back to Adyar for about 20 odd years, and I've been here initially as a young assistant professor and now to heading and a lot of other administrative responsibilities. A lot of times what happens is our motto is sort of service to all without any socio-economic divide. But what the professor at the University of McGill told me was a little striking in a way. What he said was, clearly, when I'm seeing some of the patients, there seems to be poverty written all over them. But somehow he felt that they still are very happy. So this is an observation that he shared with us. He said that he's from Canada, the McGill University. All the indexes are excellent there. In fact, all the people in that nation actually get free, or the government, I think, takes care of their health. And that's how they have a system there in the back in the UK and the Canada, it's like that. But he says still people do complain that the system is not good. And I know for sure that our system has, we're trying to do our best, but still there are lots of gaps and lacunae. But still, I feel somewhere down the line, some of our patients seems to have the remarkable ability of resilience is there. And I guess sometimes it's so ironical. Maybe ignorance is bliss or something of that sort. I feel like, they're not aware, or they are actually living this, but still somehow. And this was an observation made even for the pediatric population also, where the young kids were sort of unfortunately suffering from various ailments. So this was a very interesting observation that I wanted to share with you all today. The other final closing comments, and I know that we are sort of hopefully stretched. Essentially, a lot of us had to speak, and I think this was supposed to be there for an hour or so, but I guess it's stretching long. And also, the fact is, I just wanted to end by sort of saying that what everybody elegantly has sort of articulated already, certain individual strategies that are very, very important, and certain organizational and systemic strategies, especially with regards to oncology and clinical care. And I think some of this has been already very elegantly articulated by my eminent other panelists. Of course, it's very important that we take care of ourselves, regular health, sleep, exercise, nutrition, hydration, absolutely non-negotiable fuel for sustainable performances in emotionally draining environments like ours. And this is an advice that we give to our patients, their families, and their caregivers. Also, a lot has been said about practice mindfulness. You can do it in the way that you wish to do, pranayam, yoga, or emotional regulation in whatever way one has. The more important thing is to set boundaries, very, very important, and also to seek support early in case somebody recognizes some issue is there. And certain reflective practices, like, for example, regularly debriefing sessions with trusted colleagues. And that's, I feel, is a very, very important aspect. Like, even when I was training, I think when we used to sort of, confide in some of our colleagues about the challenging cases or challenging scenarios, I think that really helps. So these, I felt, were some of the important individual strategies. And more importantly, since I wear the organizational or administrative hat to some extent, although I'm a core surgeon at heart, I do operate quite a lot. And ever since the inception of robotic surgeries, I think my hours in the OR are quite a lot, and we are a very, very high volume unit. But I guess wearing the administrative hat to some extent is important on us and also all the other administrators to reduce the administrative burden by streamlining processes, importance of documentation, adequate support staff. Very important to also have a very reasonable workload and schedules, and ensure that there are protected rest periods for people, and introduce some wellness days also, and especially so in critical care settings and oncology. Also very important to create a very structured emotional support group. This we do for our patients also. We do have multiple emotional support programs for all our patients. And it is important to have this for our staff also. Mandatory debriefing sessions after difficult, say, mortalities, code blues, complex family discussions. It's very important for people to have these debriefing sessions are there. Again, we must foster sort of an environment of supportive culture. It's very, very important. And maybe team-based care models. And these are certain thoughts that I thought I could share with them. I must say that, we must sort of, let this awareness to action. I must say that each of us, in whatever capacity we are, must at least take one concrete step in our institutions, maybe in the next month. I'm sure a lot of you all are doing quite a lot, but I guess it's very important, especially for the administrators. Of course, for the self-care strategies and all, people are there to sort of advise, motivate, but it's very important to bring out this change from the administration or the institutional perspective. I think it's important that we start it as one small concrete change in each of our institutions, start regular debriefing sessions, advocating for better work-life balances, and launching a peer support program. And these small and consistent steps, especially in high-pressure fields like oncology and critical care, may to some extent prevent burnout, save careers, and ultimately improve our productivity. Thank you for the opportunity, Momita, and thank you for the opportunity, the BRICS Chambers of Commerce and Industry, for this. I learned a lot. I don't know how much my insights would have sort of added value, but I thought I would just give my 2 cents to this discussion. Happy to sort of partner with you all in the future as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. First of all, it's so enlightening to hear you. You speak so naturally and humbling. I mean, it's always very humbling to hear you, sir. Like, and how you make the most difficult conversation easy. It was a privilege working under you, sir. And I feel that you have very beautifully summarized the whole aspect, that it is not just the technical development that is going to work for a better India, but also the emotional resilience and the emotional safety environment that is going to help us. On that note, I have just one question. What about our doctor? Like, our doctors, they are the front liners, correct? What about their mental health? I mean, I did hear that, you're one of them. I have seen you. I've known you for years now, and how beautifully you maneuver. But what about other doctors? Like, do you feel that regular mental health assessment, regular mental health support, or again, I don't want to use the word mental health, but human sustainability, and doctors, teachers, police personnel, all of them fall under this workforce, right? So how important do you think it is, to also adhere that kind of help? We have seen the burden of chronic illness during pandemic, and we have seen how the doctors have burnt out, and it was very scary to see that our support system is falling down. So how important do you think at a policy level we should come up with something at the earliest, so that we can combine all the workforce and lead for a better India and go ahead with the One Nation, One Health framework?
I think you spoke of very lofty and high ideals, and whatever you said is aspirational, Momita. I actually believe in taking small steps on a daily basis to go about. And as you know, in when we start our psycho-oncology clinic, and even on every day when we see our patients, we measure what is called as distress in them,
Yes.
and we do it as a distress thermometer, basically. So all you are aware, and I'm sure a lot of
Yes.
people who are there in the mental health field are aware. So I feel that there has to be something measurable. Only then you'll be able to quantify it. For example, that's how I do it, because sometimes most of our clinics are flooded with patients. You don't really have the time, because I've seen abroad, no, their schedules are only, maybe they see max 10, 15 or 20 patients. And I know for sure that a lot of our clinics are inundated with more than hundreds of patients. I sometimes feel it's really unfair for me to see so many patients. But then this is how it is. And in those situations, for me to pick up something amongst the patients, and even amongst our own, say, so peers or our residents or staff or tech, it's going to be very difficult. So unless you have something measurable like a distress thermometer, so you actually see them. And some of these things are telltale, like sometimes it is all written over them, but say a watchful mind can actually pick up some of these small clues of distress which are there among people. I think at least most of us who are dealing with patients and colleagues in the mental health field are able to pick up those small red flags that we see, and it's important to sort of measure it, capture them early, and then refer them to possibly, and you spend some time. So that's how I tend to do it in my clinic. For example, I spend maybe about 3 or 4 minutes with my patients, but then when I talk to them, based on the conversation, I'm able to get some clues as to whether they may have any other challenges also of distress. And of course, distress is because, again, for a lack of a better word, I think they felt that the word distress is sort of acceptable to quite a lot. So I feel at the very least, I think in terms of measuring the human sustainability index, you must have certain measurable parameters in which you must screen all these people who are there in your healthcare team. And if you find that in their base screen, if you have some significant red flags, I think the system should ensure that they spend a lot of time on an individual basis, and maybe they may have some other, say, I did say from the institutional or perspective as to how to go about with having sort of support care teams, also to sort of reduce the administrative burden, again to have reasonable workloads, emotional support groups, and fostering a care of culture. So all these things can be done at that particular point of time. So I think I'll end here. Period. Over to you.
Wonderful, sir. Thank you so much for enlightening us. Over to you, Lavanya. Moving on to our next phase.
Thank you so much, Dr. Krishnamurthy, for your insightful session with us today. I hope I am audible. Just a quick confirmation. I'm audible, guys. Hello?
We lost you. We lost you. We lost you, Lavanya. Can't hear you.
Lavanya? I think we are open for questions, is what Lavanya was trying to say. So anyone having any sort of question to any one of us, I mean, please feel free. if we can help you in some way or the other.
So thank you so much, ma'am, for this lovely session. And I'm pretty sure everybody had a great, insightful session from this. I think mental health is something which is not something that has been restricted to, just books and the ideology of it. It has, filtered it down itself into our daily lives. And Dr. Roma rightly said, that we were still a little stringent about talking about our mental health, but eventually, slowly, we are still learning as to how to start talking about it. So thank you all of you for giving us this space wherein we can hear more from you as the professional, and giving us a space wherein we can talk about it. With that, I would like to open the stage for questions now. Anybody who has any questions can please raise their hands, and if there's a connectivity issue, you can put your questions on the chat box. We would love to take them all. Thank you. So I think Gunisha has her hands raised. Gunisha, would you like to take up the question? I think there is some connectivity issue.
I have one
Madhusudan,
question. Can I ask?
question. Yeah. Over to you, Madhusudan.
Actually, I have two questions to ask. Like, I'm starting as a career in the field of data science. So it's advised that when you're starting your career, you have to go the extra mile. Like, you have to work very, very hard. And famously, Elon Musk said that work like hell, like work 100 hours a week, and famously become a trillionaire, first trillionaire of the world. So the man has such, or when such a person guide us, so a lot of people, especially youth, follow his advice. So how to make the balance with the passion and the mental well-being? That's the first question. And second question is, what the root cause of all our mental distress and the stress? It's whether a desire or a greediness to achieve more and more. So the root cause of all our burnouts scenarios. So that's my two questions, like how to make the balance and the exact root cause. Then how we can hitting the nail part. Like I have two questions to ask. Anyone can answer it.
Was that question for Dr. Shweta? I think, Madhusudan, you were asking Dr. Shweta. So, Dr. Shweta, please go ahead.
Sure. Thank you. That's a very, very valid question, Madhusudan, first of all, and congratulations for this data science journey. See, I am going to be slightly candid here. This work-life balance is a Western concept. In the Indian ancient context, there is nothing called work-life balance. What did we say? Work is worship. Why did we say work is worship? Now, worship time, we don't say, oh, itna hi karenge, this is what we will do, this is what we will not do. Why? Because every single person, if they align with what the word that you used was passion, if you are aligned to what you love doing, you will never feel that you're working, right? And that entire thing of alignment is what we were also talking in the education context. If you love your data science, if I love my neurology, if Dr. Momita loves her psychology, we will always be in the state of flow. And the state of flow is nothing but where your head, heart, and hands, the three H's, are together. When that happens, there is timelessness, there is spacelessness. You don't even realize where you are. So, where is the question of asking the hours, right? But what is wrong and why we need to consider this sort of balance now in this today's context is we are not sure what we are doing. Are we liking it? We don't have enough opportunities to shift, and that is what a policy maker's question comes as, right? If I don't like something to do, can I make a shift? And that West gives a lot of fluidity, which we have to at certain point in time integrate into our education system, which is coming up. National education policy is talking about multiple subject choices, combination of subject choices. I had a student who was studying music, mathematics, and psychology. Now, what a beautiful combination, right? So, and now what happens to that child as he enters a workforce? The work can be depending on what the child's interests are. So all this we have to integrate at the grass level, and that's why these kind of dialogues are. But absolutely, your point is very well taken, and thank you for bringing that up.
And can you answer my second question also? What are root cause of all my stress? Like it's a desires, unlimited desires that cause us stress, or
Uh, it's again a very psycho spiritual question, and I can have anybody else answering also. But the root, we always say, oh, what is my purpose? I want to understand my purpose of being on this planet Earth. Everybody has certain this sort of existential question at some point in time, right? The purpose for all the 8 billion people is all the same. There is no separate purposes for all of us. It is to know who you are fundamentally. Who is Shweta fundamentally at the root of it, right? And as you mentioned, more and more and more is not going to make you happy. It is only going to be higher and higher and higher. So this distinction between more and higher at the root will have to be sorted. 33%, this is the latest statistics and data, 33% of billionaires have mental issue. If money was solving the problem of giving you happiness, go earn money and check it out for yourself. That's not going to give, better homes, better money, better, this is good, but it should not be at the fundamental understanding of who you are. And that's why I love the Vedic tradition, which says you are Sat Chit Anand, you are that. So the entire journey is to figure that happiness out. We're searching in the wrong places. I'm just reminded of one little, give me a few seconds. I'm reminded of a story. There was this lady, who lost a needle. Now she lost the needle and she was searching frantically. So this young man comes and says, "Oh, Mataji, what happened?" So she says, "I lost this needle. Can I help you search?" So both of them are searching and it's nice outside veranda. So this man says, "Where did you lose it?" She says, "Oh, I lost it inside while I was preparing the thing." "And why are you searching outside?" "Because there is light here." Exactly the same way, the happiness was lost inside, and we are unfortunately searching it outside. Okay, that is the route where we need to go into. Yes.
Two
okay,
things that I really wanted to add to what Dr. Shweta just said to Madhusudan, right? And this is what I advise all the people, all the patients who come to me, right? 5 minutes of boredom and 5 minutes of gratitude. If you practice that, it will solve all the issues that you are talking about. We have forgotten what is boredom. People question, like, I'm so bored. The art of doing nothingness and the art of karma, in between the thin line, is what you are. Right? So, what Dr. Shweta rightly said, rather than spreading your energy everywhere else, energy is the biggest currency. Money is not the biggest currency, Madhusudhan.
yes,
So you need to understand that. In
yes,
relationship, in anything, I say energy is the biggest currency. And where is this energy? The energy is in your mitochondria.
yes,
Right? Yeah. So if it is in your mitochondria, where is this mitochondria? And where is this energy is coming from? It is coming from the consciousness in string theory, where all the atoms and the molecules, protons and the electrons stop. That is where the consciousness starts. Right? And that is where
exactly,
you start. So just adding to what Dr. Shweta just said, I think,
Beautiful, beautiful.
Madhusudhan, if you can figure out, you know what, even twins don't have the same fingerprints.
yes,
You are Madhusudhan. You need to figure out who you are, what you are, talk to yourselves. Talk to yourselves. How many times do you even ask, like if you have fever, do you ask your body, how are you feeling? You will immediately externalize and say that, oh, let me take a paracetamol, let me take this, let me take that. But just ask, might be the body doesn't need medication, it just needs to hydrate, it just needs to rest.
yes,
Don't get into that rat race. It is not going to take you anywhere. Focus on who you are, what you want, is it what you want to do, and what is the meaning and purpose you're attaching to it. And practice 5 minutes of boredom and 5 minutes of gratitude every day.
okay. Thank you so much. Revise.
All the best, Madhusudhan.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Dr.
believe-
Mrinalini has
Yeah.
her hands raised. Ma'am, can we hear from you?
First of all, thank you for a very interesting and enriching session. Well, I mean, some of the takeaways, like the soul is here to learn rather than achieve, that I had put in the chat box, in fact. Well, I just have one query. I think Dr. Shweta just mentioned about alignment. Now, doctor, in that case, can we say that a toxic workplace, which is very often the cause of a number of, I mean, I don't know whether it's right to use that word cause, how we react to it, or what we interpret as toxicity in a workplace, is very often the cause of a lot of mental trauma, because we tend, at least on a personal note, I would say, tend to, okay, I have studied, I have worked so hard, have had my share of achievements. Work is almost everything like that. You have thing, and then a few setbacks, and then development of what can be termed as a toxic environment very often causes a lot of mental distress. Now, in such a case, can we say there is a loss of alignment that has happened, and that, well, that's a time we have to seriously think of alternatives? And what happens is there is a sense of low self-esteem that sets in. It's been happening since a couple of years also. Openly, I'm saying it, though people don't talk about mental health kind of thing, we started feeling that way, despite a number of positives that have been there on the education career continuum that way. So, what would be your response to such a query?
Dr. Momita, after that, after
Okay,
you, I'll
I
answer.
thought
Yes.
Dr. Menon asked you, I mean,
Nothing
yeah?
like that either.
No, Dr. Menon, first of all, I want to give you a virtual hug, if you're fine with it.
Oh,
Yeah.
sure.
I almost see tears in your eyes. You're so filled with emotion. And I want to respect this vulnerability that you're showing in front of us. So, lots of love and respect to you for that. And that you have understood what is the problem area is the biggest thing. Half of the people don't even understand what is the problem. Once we have awareness, then only we can go to management. If we don't have awareness, we will just keep on blaming other people, right? I would, of course, want to understand, might be someday one-on-one, what kind of toxicity you're talking about in your workplace, right? But overall, in general, if I want to address, correct?
Yes.
And try to understand how is that affecting you and your overall functionality, because you are a workforce by yourself. We are talking about thriving individual human being, and you are unique. You need to understand that, right? So how it is affecting you, once you understand that, drawing boundaries become easy, right? Over to Dr. Shweta, if you want to add something to that.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think I'm also going to extend that hug, because talking openly about this thing is very, very important. And I think many more people, Dr. Menon's, many more people who come out talking about this will make the workplaces again, go to amazing places. Now, the International Labor Organization statistics data show that about 800,000 roughly people die due to toxic workplaces. So this thing is real. It is not something we are making up. But I'm going to go back to Dr. Ushi's thing, that there is a boundary which all of us will have to understand. There are some things out of our control and some things in our control. I cannot control my boss's anger. I cannot control my boss's reactions. I cannot control my employees' validations, but I can control my own emotional brain. The limbic system, the emotional system that I carry, and largely every 8 billion people's subconscious mind is a reflection of their childhood. Somewhere or other, 0 to 7 years, the way you have been raised. And that's why we are coming back to the grassroots, because that is deciding how their emotional brain's maturity is. So I don't have a control over an immature 45-year-old boss who's sitting there with his subconscious blocks and beliefs where I can't do anything about it, right? But I have control over myself. I'm going to say what my spiritual teacher beautifully says: aware, care, and dare. The moment you are aware about yourself, that this is in my control, you start to care for it and you start to dare something about it. The keys to happiness inside, the keys to well-being inside, the keys to all the other things is all within and inside. But thank you for bringing that topic up. Thank you.
Thank you.
And my extremes of love.
Thank you so much, speakers, and thank you, Dr. Menon, for talking about your vulnerabilities and trusting this safe space here. Gunisha, do you have any questions? You've raised your hands for quite some time now, or we can proceed.
Yes, ma'am. May I?
Yeah, sure. Please go ahead.
Okay, so first of all, it's really an honor to hear from all the professionals who have been working in the field for all these decades. And honestly, being very new to the field as a new psychologist, as a counselor, just entering to the mental health field, at times I feel that the work becomes so overwhelming for our own selves, being in the field of mental health. Sometimes it provides a sense of satisfaction, a sense of joy that yes, we are someone who are capable of providing others a space of like a space where they can be their own selves. But sometimes even their stories can maybe uncover our some personal traumas, which can feel very overwhelming. And like, what are your suggestions for the new psychologists and the counselors who are just entering into the field? Because what I feel throughout my academic.
Oh, she was speaking such an important thing. She got dropped
Yes,
off.
and she got dropped, right? And
Yeah.
I would really love to answer that.
Yes.
Can we get her back online, Yashika, by any chance? I don't know how.
Uh,
Oh, yes, there she
yeah,
is.
sorry. I just lost my connection again.
So,
Uh,
Ganesha, if you if I can answer that query of yours, like if you allow me.
yes, sure.
All right. So Ganesha, first of all, understand we are also human being. You have to understand that. Forget about being a psychologist. Psychologist is not your only identity, right? You have to
Yes.
understand who you are and what you like and what you love, right? Normally, when we get into a relationship can be with work, a relationship can be with someone else. We forget our identity, who we are, what we love. Say, for example, I might be a clinical psychologist, but at the same time, I'm a painter. I love to sing, I love to dance, I love to do nothing, I love to sleep, right? So I have to give a lot of priority to that. That
Yes.
needs, that is where once you understand that, I will tell you something. I tell all my interns or young psychologists who come to me, I say, when you are trying to help someone with their mental health distress, imagine a lake that is filled with ice, thin ice, and the person is in between the lake and is jumping around. You have to go and rescue the person. How would you do that? You can't just enter that lake without any support or without holding yourself back. So, first of all, you have to tie yourself to the ground, to a tree, to something, to whatever you get, very tightly, and very slowly extend one hand towards that person. But the other hand, the other side of yours is also very grounded. That
Yes.
way, you will not be losing yourself in this profession of helping others. You will also find your grounding and you will know where to stop and you will know where to continue and what to do. Right? Remember this small phenomena that I just shared with you. Visualize this. I think visualization is a powerful tool, correct? So always visualize who you are after seeing a case, before seeing a case. You are friendly to all of them, but you are not a friend to them. Understand? If you become being a therapist, I have a lot of patients who are like, you know what, doc, let's go out for a cup of coffee. You know, you're so cool, and let's just, you know, go out together. It's like, wow, I would love to do that. But the problem is, I have to find a therapist for you first before we do that. Because if I become a friend to you, then I have bunch full of baggages that you will also have to carry, and that will not be conducive. So answering your question, sweetheart, you are starting new, and I think this is one of the boundary that you can carry forward, and it will really be helpful.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Ganesha, for the excellent question. I think the questions were in themselves very insightful, considering there was a question that came from somebody who is just starting their career, questions from somebody who is well established in their careers and trying to navigate through it, and then from somebody who is starting their career in the profession itself. How insightful of that. Before we close the questions for everybody else, this is a question from me for all of you. We have started this initiative under the leadership of Dr. Momita Nandi ma'am, and we are trying to and strive to take this forward ahead. Considering that we are already talking about mental health and well-being and all that, it is one thing that is good. Okay, like we have started talking about it, but coming from professionals themselves, there is a buzzword going around about burnout and, oh, we are depressed and this and that. So there is a segment of the society that thinks we are overhyping the whole mental health conversation. So I would like to, ask this question to each one of you. Do you think we are at a pace in the society wherein we're actually overhyping the whole conversation? Yes, the conversation is important, but where do we draw the line? Okay, after this is now just like sensationalization of the whole issue. Over to you.
Answering your question, Yashika, I would just say something. In my 14 plus 15 years of practice, I have mostly seen that why people come to me only when they're in a firefighting mode, right? Because normally when it comes to, I think Dr. Shweta or Dr. Ushi must have said this, when we are talking about, Dr. Roma also mentioned that when we're talking about our physical health, we proudly talk about like, yeah, we have a fracture, we have a back pain, we have this, we have that. But when we talk about mental health, it's still a huge taboo. So first of all, answering this, as we are planning to go ahead and take this project forward, we have to cut out the word mental health and create something called human sustainability, where the physical health, mental health, emotional health, everything will be accumulated. Until and unless you make a safe word or a safe space for person, they would not want to be a part of it. And like you rightly said, that we would want to draw that line, that this is where the buzzword end, because there is no ending to well-being, my sweetheart. There is no ending to well-being, right? And when we talk about well-being in our diagnostic criterias also, well-being is termed where we are talking about your physical health and your mental health. Even WHO has termed that, correct? So you need to understand there is no stopping to it, and there is no saying that, oh, this is it where the charcha ends. It is a regular practice. Like your dental health, your mental health is also equally important. Will you say, oh my God, I'm done brushing my teeth every day, I will take a break for the next 10 months? It's too much of a buzz. Oh my God, this Colgate, this close up, this. I don't care. What is this? My teeth, I mean, let it be. I don't care. You are trying something new to enhance your smile, to enhance how you look. The same way, it is also your mental health or your physical health. People who cannot exercise, I tell them 1 second of plank is what I want from you on your bed. That is where your grit starts. That is where your resilience starts. And that is the reason when I was last I was at BRICS office, I ended up meeting Ankita, Udbhav. I couldn't meet you, Yashika, but I met Mr. Shastri also. I suggested that we work on a framework called Project Sahara. right? So when I talk about Sahara, S will stand for, let's talk about SAHARA, Sahara, right? So Sahara is S for sustainability, A for awareness and access to care, H for healing, human sustainability and human promotion, A for action-oriented early intervention, R for resilience, recovery, and reintegration, and A for advocacy, accountability, and national impact. So, answering your question, it is not just a chai pe charcha, it is all these traits together that will help us take this forward. It is not just the psychologist or the psychiatrist or the neurologist or the dentist or the urologist or the surgeon trying to help, or a teacher or a police personnel. It is all of us coming together. That is what Sahara is all about. So I hope that BRICS and all of you present together, we can work on this project, right? So that we can start aligning things together, because this is where the alignment will come. I hope that answers your question. Anyone wants to answer, Yashika, please.
Yeah, I think, and Dr. Momita, thank you for that. I'm going to add that, health is psycho, neuro, physio, immuno, endocrinology. Psycho starts with the mind, goes to the brain, goes to your body, goes to the thing. If there is no head, heart, and mind which is in sync, it's not going to work. So we will all definitely have to work. We, unfortunately, super specialities have narrowed down the focus, and we just have to now, in fact, go up and look at it, with all integrated together. We don't want a right nostril and a left nostril specialist, or a right brain and a left brain specialist. We really want that one integrated support. And I am with you on that, Sahara. Wherever you need me, wherever anybody else needs me, I think we need to take it up as a mission going forward. That's the mission of my personal life, but let us make it together. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think I hope we all are in this project Sahara, and along with BRICS and other ministries, we can make a change. That is why I really wanted this webinar to happen today. That let this not be a chai pe charcha for the elite. Let's move beyond this. These talks will not help until and unless we are implementing something, correct? And as Dr. Krishnamurthy rightly said, that making small changes in their workplace, fair enough. But also we have to look at the bigger picture, or else we will end up having, like, look at how, the papers are misplaced, and the kids are really studying really hard. They're losing impact, and like there is a tendency of them erupting, like, this recent phenomena of CJP, the Cockroach Janta Party, if I have to put it forward, right? They said, like, yeah, I mean, we want to make some changes in our education system. So as I was talking about this OTT, teach me lesson, teach you a lesson, please, all of you, I mean, if you get time, watch this. It is how we are creating a Bureau of Ministry. Same over here also, we have to create that Bureau of Ministry. Until and unless we do that, this will only be talks, and trust me, Kali Yug there is no Kali. Kali is us. Kalki is us.
True.
And the Chiranjeevis that we talk about, the 8 Chiranjeevis, are the traits in us. So don't wait for a Kalki to come and help you out, or you have to fight a Kali, or the world is going. It is your mind, everything. You look at the structure of the brain, it is like the Milky Way. It's the universe. Go deep down, you see the lungs, you see the kidney, you will see some kind of reference in nature. So that is the whole idea. Until and unless we come, there will be more. I mean, of course, look at the whole geopolitical situation, right? There people are fighting. And over here, if we don't address this, the youth will go haywire. And we don't want that. So this project can definitely help us support our youth and also existing people in the workforce so that we can have a better nation. That is our sole purpose. On that, I want to say Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.
Jai Hind. I think I'm going to summarize what you said in one line. Let's think global, but let's act local. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Moving forward, we have a very special person with us who will be addressing us next. May I please request Mr. Pransh Sharma, sir. He's the Director General, BRICS Chamber of Commerce and Industry and President of BRICS CCI Healthcare Vertical. He's a fourth-generation entrepreneur and President of Sri Baidyanath Ayurved Bhavan Private Limited. He brings over 18 years of experience in healthcare, business strategy, and international trade with a strong focus on innovation, global partnerships, and sustainable growth. He plays a pivotal role in advancing BRICS CCI's vision of fostering economic cooperation and business excellence across nations. With that, I would like to hand over to Mr. Pransh Sharma, sir. Over to you, sir.
Second.
Hello.
Yes, sir, we can hear you. Over to you, sir.
I feel like when an entire book has been read, then what do I do after the entire book has been read? It is like giving the story in the last page. Healthcare, those who know me, we belong to a herbal background. And I think the biggest point and the biggest challenge that we are facing today is that people do not know their their kryptonite, so to speak. For me, let me give an example. For me, maybe traveling is what is my stress buster. Maybe someone, for my mother, it is probably reading a book. What is happening is today that people, 90% of them, do not know their stress buster. And because of that, the youth, especially, are using the wrong outlets to calm themselves down. It can be to maybe a drink or too many, or maybe moving towards substance abuse, or maybe even going to the wrong practitioners for outlets, maybe going to a therapist who is probably not even licensed properly. There should be probably a study, or probably we can do a forum going forward on helping people find what they enjoy best. It can be maybe I know someone who's very happy around people. They love to talk, and maybe that is the outlet. So maybe like a community talk that we can organize, where and this is not a people should realize that this is not a disease. Firstly, people have made a taboo out of it. यार मैं anxious हूँ, मैं stress में हूँ, मैं depression में हूँ. People use these words thinking that they are weakening themselves, that they are maybe they are inferior, or they are weak, and that is and when they feel like that, they do not go to rectify this, and it becomes a snowball effect. It starts eating you up inside like a tumor, and it grows. And then you realize then that is where you realize the fall in numbers, because everything that you do really affects your work, and your work is correlated to probably your salary or your profits, or maybe your age. Maybe people today at 50, 55 want to retire. A lot of people want to retire at 40, 45. They are burning out at a lower age. So numbers in towards your salary, towards your health, they all start getting affected, from your blood pressure to any sort of parameter start getting affected. So for one to understand your outlet, when I was on Facebook, I had this thing that the biggest drug is the power of your mind. If your mind chooses to do a certain thing, then there's no drug or no doctor that can change that. And I will conclude by that. This has been an incentive by Dr. Nandi. This is really good. We should try to do this in a physical setting next time. I think that will help. So let's, probably 6 months down the line, maybe do a retreat in, like a retreat, a yoga retreat in Goa we can plan, or, a stress buster thing in Goa.
Under your guidance, sir, we can do so much. So we need your guidance and your support, sir.
No, I will request Ankita ji and Sameep ji and the secretariat to make a plan. Let's have a retreat. The waves of the sound is a natural
Wonderful.
therapy. So let's do
Wonderful.
a retreat in Goa, and so on that note, I'll say bye to you and good luck for your future endeavors. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you so much, sir, for the insightful address. So we had Ms. Ankita Sachdev, Joint Director, BRICS CCI, with us for the vote of thanks, but unfortunately, due to some medical emergency, she could not be here right now. So I would like to take this opportunity to thank each one of you here, especially Dr. Momita Nandi ma'am, for guiding us towards this new initiative and driving us through all these days that we have worked together, and just not only walking yourself with the zeal, but also inducing that kind of zeal and energy into us, like our speakers rightly said, vibes and energies are very important. That's the only currency. And also, this was a platform for us to even understand that mental health is not a taboo, like Pran Sharma sir said. That is something that we need to practice every day. As and when we work on our body every day, similarly, we need to work on our mental health every day. When we talk about mental health, it's not only about reaching out to a psychologist or taking up the medical help. That is something that, yes, we can take, and certain sort of normalcy needs to be created around that conversation as well. But even generally also, that is something that we need to practice every day. Like Dr. Nandi said, 5 minutes of gratitude and 5 minutes of boredom is all we need to improve everything that is around in our life. So prevention is always better than cure. Whether we talk about physical health, the same rule applies. That same thumb rule applies at mental health level as well. With that, I would like to thank all our speakers that joined us today. Thank you so much for taking out time out of your busy schedule. You are the leaders of our society, and we are all very grateful for you. And very much thank you to all our guests who joined us, all our listeners, and definitely our secretariat here for organizing this. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you, all of you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am.